the county, and we call it the Gilead. Now, today we're going to talk about Elijah, the Tishbite. Now, Elijah is a man of Father Yah. But when Elijah sprang out in the scene of the Bible, the story of the Bible is just like the story of Father Yah's creation. And if you're looking at it, it's just a stage show or a drama that every character is going to fill out one part. And once our part is done, somebody's going to do another one. And Elijah is like this. But mind you, when Elijah comes out of nowhere, look, he is a man already. But this man did not pursue his personal things. He did not find a wife, a good-looking wife, to have babies. No, he did not do that. Actually, he didn't even care about himself. He just sprang out of nowhere, and this is what he is asked to do. Now, Elijah's time is in a time when the world needs like him. Elijah was born during the time of Ahab the king. Now, Ahab is the king of the Israelites, the 10 tribes. And Ahab is the son of Omri. And mind you, Omri is an evil king. And since Ahab's father is an evil king, what will you think of Ahab will do? The same thing. Now, mind you, parents, who are you will be your children. When I came here in America, and they show me a video how to teach in America, they show me students sitting in the desk, raising their hand, behaving so much, answering questions with the teachers. And I told myself, woo, that is teaching. But when I arrived here, my first day, they cursed me out already. I told myself, I don't understand. Way back then, every time a student cursed me when I was in Glenox High School, I push the button and say, Mr. Principal, I need somebody here, take this student away from my class because I could not teach. And then one day, a student told me something about her life. What life it is outside the school. How her parents don't do anything, just drugs, alcohol, and like that. And then I come to realize the reason why my students behaving like that is they don't know the difference between good and evil. So, whatever will be your children behaves outside your presence, parents, ask yourself, where did they came from? Who are their parents? So, as like I said, an apple tree will not bear fruit a mango, but it will bear fruit the same with the tree, an apple tree. That's why if your child not looks like you, not behave like you, ask yourself, is that my child? Somebody else's child. So if we confess that we are chosen and we are the son of the Most High, and if Father Yah look at us, what do you think is going to see? It's like, be careful what you say, because whatever you say will be used against you in the court of law. And Father Yah is going to do the same thing. Whatever word that comes from our mouth will not come back to us void. So Elijah lives in a situation wherein there's no good that he can see anything about because the leader, Ahab the king, is an evil one. And the good story about it is that Ahab is an evil one, and mind you what he took as a queen. Jezebel, also an evil queen. So, tells me that if you're already put yourself in a situation that you are the Son of the Most High, then what you're doing outside? You cannot equally yoke with another one. Is it Misery Loves Company? I don't know about that. I forgot about your ads about it. So the same thing is, but this time, hear what he did. Now remember, Ahab is the king. And here comes Elijah. In 1 King chapter 17 verse 1, this is what Elijah did as he was sprung out of nowhere. And Elijah, the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab. Now, who sent Elijah to see Ahab? Not him. Because if Elijah by himself is not going to put himself in a harm's way, who is going to put yourself in a harm's way? Nobody. But that is his purpose. And he cannot do anything about it because what? He confessed that he is the Son of the Most High. And he was chosen in the first place. If you were chosen, you cannot do anything about it unless you rebel. But Elijah did not do, and what rebellion was about to say, but this one just followed what the Father said to him. He said, Ahab, and said, as the mighty Yah, the Elohim of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain this years, but according to my word. Now, Elijah did not see Ahab to see a good word. Actually, he gave a prophetic word that there will be no rain nor dew for 3 years and 6 months. Now, if you are Ahab, what will you do? And Elijah knows what will happen after he says that word. So, out of nowhere, he put himself in a situation that it will himself harm, and it took him what? To die if Ahab is going to choose him to be killed. But after that word, what happens to him? Father Yah took care of him. Now, when you were chosen by Father Yah and asked you to do one thing, do you think he will not going to take care of you and provide you the things that you need? If you chooses to follow what he asks you to do. Now, the moment the word has been said, the word already taken to effect. The counting of 3 years and 6 months starts. Thus, Father Yah asked Elijah to go where in the first place? If you're going to read in lower verses, he asked him to go in a brook called Shirit. Now, Shirit is not just a sprung out of nowhere place, because Shirit has a meaning. Shirit means you are cut off. You are separated. So, Elijah was asked to go in a brook called Shirit and wait in there until Father Yah says so, and Father Yah is going to send the birds to give him bread. And then Elijah is going to drink water on the brook. Now, the word Shirit. Elijah was being cut off the moment he chose to follow Father Yah. Now, I ask you one thing. When you choose to follow Father Yah, are you willing to cut off everything that is in you? You know what? When we were born into this world, we have umbilical cord, right? And then in order for you to survive, they cut the umbilical cord. Didn't you know that it's the same thing? When we live in this world, our umbilical cord is on the world. And you can only live unless you cut it off. But the question is, are you willing to be cut off? See, just last night I preached in the Philippines. I said, if you love your mother, your father, your wife, your children, and everything that is in you, including your, Camaro you said a while ago, Mercedes-Benz, your house and everything like that, your friends, your partying and everything, if you love those more than Him, you're not worthy to be called disciples of God. Yeah. So Elijah chose to follow Father Yah, and what happens? He was cut off from the world. He is living now by himself. But no, he's not living by himself. Because he is with Father Yah. If you read the word of David, you know what David said? Father Yah, if I'm going to live 1,000 years on this earth, I'm going to replace it if you just give me one day to be in your place. When you are with Father Yah, you will never be alone. You will always be whole. That's why Elijah don't need anything nor anybody. He lived in the brook by himself in Father Yah. Now, as it's in reality, the brook dried out. Make sense? So the same thing with you. Sometimes when you are isolated by Father Yah, testing you, how far can you go? How much pain can you endure? And then sometimes that brook's going to dry up. You're going to question yourself. Why I am having this if I am going and considered the Son of the Most High? But the reason why the lives of Yeshua has been written? For us to see how many trials he's gone through, how many pain he need to suffer, because that is our example to live in this world. But the moment it was dried up, we don't need to ask. Isn't it says, before you ask, Father Yah knows already what you want. If we have that faith that everything is under His control, Elijah had that faith. So after the brook dried up, Father Yah asked Elijah, I'm not reading the Bible, but since I'm a teacher, I can tell you the story. He was asked to go in a place called Sarepta. Now again, Sarepta is not just an ordinary place. Sarepta means a refinery. Woo! When you were chosen, you were cut off. And once you were cut off, all trials in life will come into you. And then at the end of the day, it will refine you to become gold, 24 karat, pure and shining. Everything that is impure in you should need to be burned.